Today we are making a video on Pardus 21.5 Linux. Here is the boot menu of a Pardus. Let's boot it in a live boot. So these are all the available options in the boot menu, like advanced options. Let's go back, and it's to install the Pardus Linux from here. This is a live boot, so it's always a good option to boot it in a live boot because if you have any bugs while downloading the latest version, it should be safe to boot in a live boot. If you directly downloaded the latest version and installed the latest version, if it has bugs, it's going to ruin your PC. So that's the reason I'm going to say, and it's my tip from me. So always boot it in a live boot first, and if you're satisfied with the live boot, go with the installation later. So roughly use it like 2 to 3 hours in a live boot. If you're satisfied and you didn't get any bugs or encountered any errors, go with the installation. So that's a tip from me. And I forgot to mention that I'm running it on a virtualization, which is a VMware with 80 GB of hard disk, 4 GB of RAM, and 2 processors running. So here it took like a maximum of 35 seconds. Usually a Linux distro will take like a maximum of 1 minute or minimum of 30 to 40 seconds. So here is our welcome screen of a Pardus 21.5. So let's change the resolution because it's look pretty odd. So let's go to the application menu, go to settings and change the displays. Mine is 1920 into 1080, so let's change the 1920 into 1080. There is no 1920 into 1080 resolution here. You can type it in a terminal and you can get that. So I'm just choosing the 1360 into 768 for the sake of the video. Let's keep the aspect ratio in the VMware. So it looks pretty not good quality. It's better. It's not the best, it's better still, but let's go with it. So let's first check the system monitor or the task manager, because we need to know how much of resources are consuming in the beginning of the video without running any apps. And I'm going to open the task manager again at the end of the video, so you should be getting an idea of how much resources will be consuming. So you can judge there by seeing the resources on your own to use this Linux distro or not. So right now it's almost under, it's going crazy. There is a high peak, low peak. Can't even properly say how much of CPU is consuming right now. It's going up to 60%, sometimes it's going up to 2%. So let's go to the memory and see. The memory is almost like 900 MB. It's a XFCE desktop environment, so it doesn't consume that much of resources. I think it's because of the it is beginning of the Linux distro. We just launched, or we just started this Linux distro, and after a few minutes or few seconds it should be on the stable resources, I guess. So right now this is the CPU and the RAM resources consuming. So if you want to remember, you can remember, or just put my video side by side, like a beginning of the video and the ending of the video. So you should be getting an idea of how much resources will be consuming. As you can see, there is a CPU is not going on a stable graph. It's going on a high peak, low peak. There is nothing stable here. So processors running right now are almost like a 281, and the RAM is like this. RAM is going, and RAM is also stable. RAM is stable, but CPU is going crazy, so let's ignore that. And the task manager version is a 1.4.0. so these are all the processes running right now. So let's close this thing and open the terminal and type in few commands. Let's type in the command which will grab complete distro information. For example, inxi-sv8. This is the command which will grab the complete distro information. So let's scroll it up and see. Under system, host is a Pardus because this is a Pardus Linux, and kernel is a 5.10. The latest version of a kernel is like a 6.3, but we get here is a 5.10, no problem. And it's a 64-bit architecture, and the compiler GCC version is a 10.2.1. and desktop is a XFCE 4.16. Again, it's a old version. XFCE 4.18.4 is the latest version, and GTK version is a 3.24.24, and DM is a light DM 1.26.0, And distro is a Pardus new Linux 21.5 Erimbir. I don't know how you spell this thing. Erimbir, I guess. I don't know properly. So Phoenix 6.0 version. So RAM is almost 960 MB of 4 GB of RAM. So let's scroll it down. Here is the CPU of my laptop. If you want to go through this, you can pause this video and check it out. So let's scroll it down. Under graphics, it's a X11 display, and the server is a XORG 1.20.11, and VM WGFX version is a 2.18.0. so let's scroll it down again. And LLVM version 4.1, Mesa is a 20.3.5. so let's go to the sound server is a ELSA version K5.10.0. so let's scroll it down. And I'm using a 80 GB of hard disk, which I already mentioned in the beginning of the video. So let's scroll it down again and find out other information. Process running right now are 284, uptime is a 3 minutes, wake ups are 21, init systemd version is a 247, compiler GCC already mentioned, shell bash version is a 5.1.4, and INXI version is a 3.3.01. let's type in other command, which is a cat:/etc/issue. so here is the information. so let's type in neofetch if it's available or pre-installed. Neofetch is not installed. You can install it by typing the sudo apt install neofetch. I'm not going to do it right now. So let's type in another command which will give the same information as the above, but in a short form. So these are all the same information as the above, but in a short form. That's the only thing. So let's type in htop now. Htop also is not installed. If you want, you can install it. So that was the distro information. We got all the things. So let's type in the neofetch because some people need to see the neofetch also. So let's do that for them. Let's paste the command and type in the install. You need to type Y for the install and N for no. It's going to take a few seconds or few minutes, maybe like a minute, and it should be installed in a minute. So it's taking a few more seconds, and here it is. So let's type in the neofetch and see. Here is the neofetch. Here is the complete information of the terminal, theme, icons, all the things. So let's type in htop also now. So let's type in the command or copy the command which is here. It's not working. So let's type in the command which is sudo apt install htop. It's going to take like a maximum of 10 seconds. That's it, as you can see. So let's type in htop. Here are all the information: RAM, CPU, task. So complete information is here. So let's close it. So let's go to the official website by launching the internet browser, which is a Firefox web browser. And Firefox web browser is the default browser for the Pardus. Almost every Linux distro has the Firefox as the default browser. So let's check the version of the Firefox first. Help about Firefox 102.10. The latest version is 113. So let's type in the search term, which is Pardus Linux. This is the search term you need to type in your browser or in the search bar. So that is the first one is the website, which is pardus.org. So it's going to take a few seconds because I'm using a VPN, so that's the reason. If you want to go through all the information, you can go through all the information by going to their website, and you can read everything if you want. So here is the two desktop environment, the Pardus 21.5 GNOME version and the XFCE desktop environment. So XFCE is a lightweight Linux desktop environment. So if you want to go with this, you can go with this, or you can go with the GNOME version. It's clearly up to you. So let's download the XFCE, because I downloaded the XFCE, and showing you in the video is the XFCE desktop environment. Here is the download. It launched in a few seconds. That's it. So I'm using a VPN, so it is pretty slow for me. The file size is around like a 2.3 GB, not even a big size. Even if you have a limited internet connection, I think you can download it, I guess. So that was the downloading process and that was the website. So let's go to the installation process now. So let's execute the installer. So here is the installer. I already made a lot of videos on a Pardus Linux in the previous videos. Like almost like a 6 to 7 videos, I guess. This is the installer. So click on next. First you need to choose your language, and the installation process is a regular Linux installation. There is nothing complicated. First you need to choose your language, click on next, and the keyboard layout, I'm choosing the English United States. You can choose anything. You can choose the other options in the variant like in English. Click on next. You need to choose your location. You don't need to provide your actual location, you can provide anything. You can choose it from here or you can directly click on the map. Click on next after choosing. Here is the hard disk partition or the partition settings. Again, you need to be very careful while doing this because it's going to delete the current operating system and it's going to install it as a Pardus Linux will be the current operating system for you if you choose the erase disk. If you choose the manual partitioning, you should be having like a dual boot. You can provide you can choose the partitions if you want, and this is the option to dual boot and this is the single boot. So be careful while choosing, and you need to choose your hard disk here. If you have like a multiple hard disk, you can select the whichever the hard disk you want. So always be patient and be carefully check out all the things and try to install it. So only install it after you're satisfied with the live boot. Don't just blindly download and install first. Always try it in a live boot. That's the reason they gave you they gave you the live boot option. Always try to live boot first and then go with the installation. Try to at least use it for like a 2 to 3 hours, and don't try to save it anything in the live boot because it's going to be erased after you restart or reboot. So be careful while that. And here is the other options. If you want to install the system updates, you can check this button. If you don't want, you can do that later. Click on next. It's going to give you a warning like this will delete all the data on the VMware, and it's going to mention the hard disk. I'm using it on a VMware, so there is no problem. So after clicking on yes, it's going to take a few seconds, and after that it's going to start the installation process. It's going to take like a maximum of 20 minutes or minimum like 5 to 8 minutes. It completely depends on your hard disk or the Linux distro or the system resources. It completely depends on your PC speed. So after that, it's going to be booted in the single boot or a dual boot, whatever the option you choose in the partitioning. So that's the installation process. So I'm not going to install it because I don't want to. So that's the installation process. Let's check out the desktop features of a Pardus Linux. Here is a restart and all these options. Time and calendar, again same features, nothing difference in the Linux distros. So some of the options are here. Audio mixer, internet connection. This is a power manager. This looks pretty good because the option which looks pretty customizable, and it looks like a high-end what you call it, high-end Linux distro. The option gives you to choose the power saving or the battery saver. It only works on the laptop. If you're using a laptop, it will be helpful. If you're using like a desktop, it's nothing. There is no need to choose the power, all these options. So here is the clipboard and the panel 4.16.2. I think we covered everything. So let's check out the desktop wallpaper and see other options also. You don't get that many of wallpapers in the Pardus Linux, just a few wallpapers. So there is nothing to show you that. So let's check out the application which comes with pre-installed with the Pardus Linux, about XFCE and about Pardus. So here is the full information of the XFCE desktop environment and the Linux distro, and here is the information of the Pardus Linux. So here is the information. Let me close it. I already showed you every information in the terminal command in the beginning, so there is no need to show all these things. So these are all the pre-installed applications which comes with the Pardus Linux. Just a few apps added from the Pardus Linux, other are from the XFCE desktop environment, as you can see. So let's quickly launch some of the apps and end the video because there is nothing left to show you. So let's open some of the important apps. I already showed the Firefox. Let me open the GIMP. Let me even open the file manager. What else we left is here, LibreOffice. On the internet we don't get a mail, Thunderbird mail like that. Multimedia, we have a VLC media player, which is good. On the Office side we already launched the LibreOffice, so no need to open. So other are from the XFCE desktop environment, so no need to show that also. So here are some of the Pardus Linux applications. As you can see in the system, I already showed the installation process. Here is the packages, package installer, software center, and some of the boot repair, all the other options, greeter, package installer, like this, all these things. So almost open like 8 to 9 apps. So here is the package installer version. So let me close this thing. Here is the Synaptic package manager. Let's check out the version of the Synaptic package manager, 0.90.2. So the installed version will be highlighted with the green box, and the installer version will be like here. So let me show you that. As you can see, let me go up. So this is the installed version, and the box will be highlighted if it's installed, if the package is installed. So let me quickly run through all these things. It's going to take a lot of time, so I'm going to quickly run through. If you want to see all these packages in a slow motion, you can change the YouTube settings. Go to the YouTube settings and go to the playback speed. By default it will be like a 1, change it to 0.25 and you should be able to see all the packages. So if you want to do that, you can do that like that. So here is the software manager. So let's first check out the version of the VLC, 3.0.18, and the GIMP version will be 2.10.22, and the file manager version is a Tuna 4.16.8. so these are all the applications version. So here is the software manager. If you want to install, or the application manager, whatever you call, software center, there are a lot of names for it. If you want to install, you can install it right here. This is the installed apps, or the my apps you can call it. If you want, you can install it by going to the app and click on install. So that's the installation process. If you click on the bulb button, or the bulb or light button, whatever you call it, so it's going to give you the information. So this is the information. Let me close this thing. So that's the Pardus Linux 21.5. Again, ignore the background noise, people are going crazy around my neighborhood. I think that's it. Let me show you the task manager, because I mentioned it in the beginning that I'm going to show you the task manager. Before it was like a 900 MB, it was now is like a 1001 MB or 1.1 GB, you can call it like that. CPU is at stable, not even stable still. I thought it was stable, but it's going still like that. It's going low and going high up to 60%. So I don't know, it's clearly up to you to judge to use this Linux distro or not. So these are all the processes running right now. And if you ask on the RAM side, it's pretty good. If you ask on the CPU side, I don't know what to say. There is a high peak and low peak, but it's still working for me. I'm using a 12 Gen i5, so it is working right now for me. I don't know how it works to you if you have a low-end PC. So it will be a good idea to use it in a live boot first. If you're satisfied, then go with the installation. So that's it for the video. I already posted another video because I will be posting 2 videos daily. So if you want to check that out, you can check that out after watching this video completely. Again, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the thumbs up button. It helps me make a good content for you. Other than that, I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Peace out.